Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here with us, whether you're joining us in the pews or online. And as usual, we have a few announcements this morning. We will have lunch bunch about 12:15. The location is posted outside the sanctuary to the right as you exit. This is an informal gathering for fellowship and to continue or maybe even start conversations, and all are welcome to join. If you are new here today, feel free to join the group. You are invited as well. We're sorry that those of you online won't be available for that. Between the service and lunch bunch, we will share coffee and conversation here in the gathering place, just outside the sanctuary. Unfortunately, we're sorry that we don't have an online hostess yet, so for online coffee hour, so we have no organized way for you all to get together. Any of you listening would like to step up, we'd love to share with you how that's done. And moving right along. Each Sunday, members of our lay pastoral ministry team, we call them the LPMT, is here in the sanctuary during and after the service to listen to any immediate pastoral care or needs as desired, and we can assist you in connecting to additional support if you would like. I see a couple of members from the lay pastoral ministry team here today. If you are on the team, will you please stand up briefly so people can actually recognize you? And so we will move on from there. Talk to them if you really want somebody, have a concern or just feel like you'd like somebody to talk to. We welcome our visitors who are here in person this morning. If you should have received a welcome kit when you came in, or you at least should have been offered one. So if you did not get one, please see somebody on membership or somebody in the gathering place after church, and they will be happy to give you a welcome kit. It will give you more information about Emerson, and it will include a yellow card. If you didn't get a yellow card and would like one, we encourage you, and sometimes there's a yellow card here. And we ask you if you will fill out both sides of the yellow card, because that will give us some more information about who you are and how we can better serve your needs. You can put them in the offering baskets at the front or the back of the sanctuary, either during the offering or after the service. And any visitors, welcome to Emerson. We're delighted that you are here. And now we will enjoy our prelude. It's going to be a singing prelude for the group this morning. So welcome, and it is, well, I guess you don't need to know the number. We'll sing it.
Morning has come, night is away. Rise with the sun and welcome the day. Morning has come, morning has come. Rise is away, rise with the sun. Morning has come, night is away. Rise with the sun, rise is away. Morning has come, night is away. Rise with the sun, rise with the sun, rise with the sun, and welcome the day.
In Unitarian Universalist Sunday churches like this across the nation and across the world, we light a chalice here at the start of the worship and our other gatherings. And as we light our chalice flame here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you who are joining us from home or are away or on YouTube to light a candle or a chalice of your own. In the words of Reverend Sherry Woodbury, the light of the chalice represents the spark of the Spirit cupped in the earth's embrace. It represents the light of love alive in all creation, and when we kindle this flame here in the presence of this beloved community, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. And I'm not sure if our morning chalice lighter got the further directions. Yes? So I guess we're good. Ordinarily, the chalice lighter just lights the chalice and sits down, but suddenly our chalice lighter today has an additional task. When we light our chalice, we hear words of timeless wisdom to help center us for our time together. Our chalice lighting words for July come from Ben Soule, a lifelong UU who has attended First Parish in Lexington since childhood. Please join me in reading these words as they appear on the screen. Out of the darkness, light. Out of the light, warmth. Out of the warmth, joy. Out of the joy, togetherness. May this flame hold us for the time we are here with one another.
Good morning once again. My name is Nina, my pronouns are she, they, and I am a seminarian on the path toward UU Parish Ministry. This is my fourth and final summer Sunday in Emerson's pulpit, and I want to express deep gratitude for your welcome this summer. I have learned and grown through my time with you and developed a connection to this community that will surely deepen as I continue supporting Emerson as an intern next church year. It is our togetherness that makes each moment sacred. It is our togetherness that now blesses the space. So come now into this space, feel your body and your breath and your spirit arrive. We welcome you here today. We welcome you who come here for the first or the fifth or the 100th time. We welcome you who come with heavy hearts or with joyous spirits. We welcome you to be with us as we together experience the mysteries of a fully human life together. Please join me in our welcoming words. The words are on the screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. So I invite you once more and fully into this place of peace, this place of community, a place of wisdom, this place of wonder. And I want to offer each of us a chance now to center ourselves, to ground ourselves in the presence of this place, with all who are present here in this sanctuary, those joining us virtually, and any ancestors that may be here with us today. Together we are community. So I invite you to allow yourself to breathe easefully, to feel yourself sink into the seat and feel your body held, to feel your feet on the ground and your back supported by the wood behind you, your heart and your mind fully in this room, connected in a real and valuable way to everyone who breathes together. And I invite you for just one moment to do something more difficult than it sounds, to just be. After a moment of meditation or prayer or sitting with your breath, we will come together again with our voices raised to sing our first hymn. And when the music starts, you can feel free to stand or sit, sing or not sing.
Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Mystery. Where are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery. Where are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery.
The UU Reverend Forrest Church is quoted as saying, "We are not human because we think. We are human because we care, and all true meaning is shared meaning." As a component of UU liturgy, our pausing to name that which is heavy and light is perhaps the most starkly human thing that we do. So often we sit in straight pews, gazing at the pulpit, absorbing wisdom and experiencing divinity in bodies that are buzzing with the joys and sorrows of being human. We are suffering, and we are thriving, and anxiously awaiting what's to come while mourning all that's been lost. Let us remember that while these very human emotions often make us feel exceptional or misunderstood, they are, in fact, the ties that bind us together. So now I invite you to join us in this very Unitarian Universalist ritual, which is practiced in many congregations on Sunday mornings. For those of you carrying a weight of sorrow or concern, I invite you to come forward and light a candle to breathe life into that concern, to let it be here with us and in the room for all to see. In sharing, may our sorrows be halved. And for those of you carrying a joy or celebration in your hearts, I invite you to come forward and light a candle to also allow your joy or celebration to live here in the room with all of us. And sharing, may our joys be doubled. And any young folks that we have in the sanctuary who would like to light a candle are invited to come forward and do so. And when they're done, they can follow their teacher to the classroom. The music that will play during this ritual is a recording done by our staff pianist who would be here but is currently in a travel snafu. You're welcome to come and light a candle if you'd like.
From Frank Schulman's book of Universalist Unitarian History, for the week of July 14th to the 20th, on July 14th in 1791, mobs burned the home, church, library, and laboratory of Joseph Priestley in Birmingham, England, urged on by the Church of England because of Priestley's Unitarianism and his support of the French Revolution. Priestley left England and moved to Pennsylvania, where he established Unitarian churches in Philadelphia and Germantown. While still in England, he had discussed the idea of a Unitarian commune on the Susquehanna River with his associates. But in the end, he took only his family and resumed the life of science and theology. He was most noted for the discovery of oxygen as the active element in our atmosphere. His Pennsylvania home and library are now open to the public. And on the 18th of July in 1926, the celebrated Canadian author Margaret Lawrence was born in Neepawa, Manitoba. She was one of the greatest novelists of the 20th century. Her books, which reflect her commitment to social justice and social causes, include This Side Jordan, 1960, A Prophet's Camel Bell, 1963, The Tomorrow Tamer, 1963, Drums and Cannons, 68, A Bird in the House, 70, and The Christmas Birthday Story, 1980. Lawrence and her husband joined the Unitarian Church in Vancouver, British Columbia, where she taught Sunday school. She worshiped in Unitarian churches wherever she lived. Lawrence was also a peace activist and supported the Canadian Abortion Rights Action League. She died on January 5th, 1987. That was This Week in UU History.
The light from these candles that we lit together, and perhaps any that you lit at home, represent the joys and concerns of our community. And it's important, as we're here today, that we acknowledge our history is a shared and harmful one. Our congregation's buildings are situated on the home of the Karankawa and Takapa peoples for at least 2,000 years before European settlers arrived and very nearly brought about their end. May we recognize, uplift, and always support vocally and passionately Indigenous voices and communities in our work as a congregation.
Emerson's purpose statement is, "Our beloved community of faith, reason, and affection welcomes all to grow in mind and spirit as we build a better world." We remind you of it each week by stating it right on the front of the order of service when we have them provided, and we live out our purpose in many different ways. We worship together, we learn together, we lobby together, and we spread our faith through our actions. We also give our time, talent, and treasure to partners in Houston and across the nation and the planet who feel we are living out our purpose in ways that we only wish we could. We support those partners each week at this time in our service. 75% of today's offering will go to our July Share the Plate recipient, the UUA Disaster Relief Fund. Your donation today allows the UUA to respond flexibly to current disaster needs as well as to new emergency situations as they arise. The fund disperses grants to UU congregations and recognized UU nonprofit entities who are suffering disasters. Their work enables us to embody our faith and values. The remaining 25% of today's offering will go to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, which provides thousands of meals every day to Houston's homebound seniors. You can go to our webpage for online giving, put cash or a check in our offering baskets, or mail a check to the church. And now for our choir music, our offering music is once again from the choir.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah yeah, 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 yeah yeah.
Several hats today. The words for our reading today come from the article How Reverend William Ellery Channing's 1819 radical sermon led to modern-day Unitarian Universalism by Elaine McArdle, published in the UU World in March of this year. It was the mic drop of its time. On May 5th, 1819, a much anticipated sermon at a new liberal church in Baltimore, Maryland, Reverend William Ellery Channing seized a pejorative used by New England conservatives, Unitarian, and turned it on its head. His sermon, Unitarian Christianity, claimed the word and named a liberal faith that rejected the commanding Trinitarian God of Calvinism in favor of an understanding of Jesus as human, not God, among other radical and ultimately deeply influential ideas. In the 90 minutes of what's commonly called the Baltimore sermon, Channing laid out tenets of the new faith: the unity of God in contrast to the idea of a Trinity, the use of reason in understanding religion and interpreting the Bible, a concept of Jesus as human rather than human and divine, a rejection of Calvinism's idea of depraved humanity where salvation was reserved for a select few. The wealthy men who a year earlier had established what's now called First Unitarian Church of Baltimore knew exactly what they were doing when they invited Channing to preach at the ordination of its first minister, Reverend Jared Sparks. They made sure Channing's seminal message would reach as many people as possible, inviting many liberal clergy and arranging for the sermon to be quickly printed and disseminated around the country and in Europe. Reverend Dr. Nicole Kirk, who gave the Sunday morning worship sermon at GA, our General Assembly this year, comments on the sermon saying, "Channing is still shaping us today. He is still a conversation partner." It's funny because when we talk about love at the center, we lean heavily on the Universalist side of the faith, notes Kirk, but I think we can equally pull on our Unitarian side, because how else do you talk about humanity's relationship to the divine? If you are made in someone's image, that is love. And to speak of the divine spark in each of us is love. The Unitarian Universalist Association resulted from the consolidation in 1961 of the American Unitarian Association and the Universalist Church of America. Moreover, she adds, Channing's talk about humanity's potential instead of depravity could be interpreted as love, just not expressed in the same way. And to celebrate reason, which has its problematic edges, is to have faith in human beings' abilities to study Scripture for themselves and find their way to meaning, which remains key to Unitarian Universalism today. Jen Hayashi is a retired geriatrician, I'll get this, and former president of the UU Congregation of Columbia, Maryland. Describing herself as one of many UUs who is kind of allergic to religion, she says she defines Unitarian Universalism today by what I don't want to be. People who want it to be a country club, and we all gaze at our navels and develop our spiritual loveliness, and the rest of the world can do what it wants. That is not my Unitarian Universalism. She's encouraged by the explicitly anti-racist, liberatory work of the UUA of recent years. I know it's a different UUA today, and it looks to me like they've made a fair amount of progress in the last decade. And yet they've encountered so much resistance because, like everything else, it was a faith built by old white men, Hayashi says. Still, she notes that the Columbia congregation recently changed its mission statement to expressly state that it embodies love in action, and that is true, and that to me what Unitarian Universalism is, love that shows up quickly and publicly and loudly and quietly, whatever is needed to support the people who need it the most.
A year ago, I moved to Houston from Las Vegas, the place where I was born. Growing up in Las Vegas was strange. People's perceptions of my life were always much more exciting than my actual life. And more than anything, I thought that it was the ugliest place in the world. It was dry and dusty all the time and hot most of the time. Instead of the deer and squirrels at my beloved grandparents' house in Michigan, our local wildlife was tarantulas and scorpions. And rather than the herbs and grapevine that grew in the Midwest that I loved so much, we had blood-letting cacti and craggy mountains that rose out of the ground like scar tissue in an improperly healed wound. I left for college and said I would never be back. And now, of course, I love Las Vegas, and nowhere in the world feels like home the way that that city does. After living in various swampy, humid places, I love going home and stepping off the airplane and taking a deep breath of perfectly dry air. And now I find the natural landscape so enchanting, full of fascinating and wildly hardy flora and fauna that can survive in the immense temperature shifts of the desert and long spells without water. It's important to remember where we come from, and I'm proud to come from a land of resiliency. In these times of immense shift and change, remembering where we come from can be helpful and grounding and fortifying. And in these chaotic times, it's also important for us to remember that right now, everything, all of this chaos is unfolding according to plan, including perhaps the various emotions that you have about the state of the world. These systems that we talk about are not broken. They are operating exactly as they were designed to. Chaos is the point. Apathy is the point. Hopelessness, perceived powerlessness, compliance is the point. But choosing to believe in the fortifying power of every action that we take as individuals and a community toward renewal, transformation, and restoration is a refusal to consent to the belief that we'll never have relief from this engine of destruction. And in times like this, with so much chaos and tumult, we can choose to turn toward the pain that we feel and let it change us, or turn away from the pain and let that change us. That's the thing. There's no pathway to avoiding the change. As organizer and author Mariame Kaba has said, let this radicalize you rather than lead you to despair. Despair is better for empire. Despair can be pathologized, treated, capitalized on. But that which is radical has returned to the root. It remembers its origins. It is moved by an engine of internal power. It feels like there is a lot of discourse right now around being radical. The term is slung pejoratively at people whose reactions to the moment at hand seem to be too much. To be radicalized suggests a stark departure from normal behavior. And I think of other words that have been used in this way, like hysterical, the way that 19th century mostly women were described by mostly men when their emotions were deemed ungovernable, as if their emotional response to the immense repression, gaslighting, and inequality of the time was somehow the problem. Or about how the terms so often used to categorize Black women today, like aggressive or angry, fall into this same category, as if their emotional response to immense oppression, gaslighting, and inequality is somehow the problem. Oppressors have always tried to use language to control through shame. But in a time when people are disappeared for having expressed their constitutional right to free speech, in a time where vigilantism is lauded for its efficiency and habeas corpus is under attack, we must radically defend and demand justice, one of our shared values. In a time when police are relying on people to out their undocumented, queer, and anti-authoritarian neighbors, we must radically embody interdependence, one of our shared values. In a time when places of worship and sanctuary occupied by people doing the work of religious freedom are infiltrated by the state for the purpose of fear-mongering and disrupting civil disobedience, we must radically model and defend pluralism, one of our shared values. In a time when one single set of values has been pedestalized and all others dehumanized and criminalized, we must radically defend and embody equity, one of our shared values. You're catching on, yes, one of our shared values. In a time when many, many people are realizing the fatal impact of their candidate or party of choice, we must believe in the power of radical transformation and coalition build where and with whom we can. In a time of ever-widening wealth gaps and increasing rates of food and housing insecurity, our radical generosity, without strings attached and without expectations of purity or perfection, can help us live our values. By our own definition and baked into our own shared values, we are a people of radical love. And let us remember, Unitarian Universalism self-defines as a dissenting tradition with a long history of rejecting status quo and dogma. Way, way back before Unitarian Universalism was ever a twinkle in the eye of the record of the universe, radical people were laying the groundwork for us to be free today. One of my favorite radicals of religious liberalism is Michael Servetus, who was a 16th century Spanish theologian who rejected both the Trinity and the idea of religion for capital, which was a really big deal back in the age of violent extraction in the name of religion, redemption, and eternal life, and who was summarily condemned as a heretic and executed by Calvinists. His martyr's death has been taken as signaling the birth in Europe of the idea of religious tolerance. And we carry his radical legacy forward as we practice telling the truth with brave and loving conviction. 300 years later, the abolitionist Lydia Maria Child lived a life of tireless advocacy for oppressed members of society, specifically Native Americans, children, enslaved people, and women. Though never having children herself, she wrote books on parenting and books for children, and especially highlighted the importance of educating daughters over sending them into early marriage. Though she was white, she did not believe that significant progress on women's rights could be made until the abolition of slavery and the equitable return of land and culture to Indigenous Americans. She published, along with many, many other works, an enormous, scholarly 3-volume collection of religious wisdom from the world's many faiths. We carry her radical legacy forward as our work in the world is shaped by pluralism and deep empathy and intersectionality. In a 1946 paper called A Faith for Free Men, Unitarian scholar and parish minister James Luther Adams said, "Human history is not the struggle between religion and irreligion. It is veritably a battle of faiths, a battle of the gods who claim men's allegiance." As the world then attempted to make sense of the chaos wreaked by 6 years of a world war, Adams suggested that it is not that history's oppressors act as they do out of a lack of faith, but instead because of the depth of their faith to whatever it is that they believe in. Using language of the time, Luther continues, "We have liked to believe that we did not share the oppressor's faith, yet we have all had some part in creating or appeasing Gestapos, and we could do it again. We have also all had some part in stopping the Gestapo. In fact, the spirit, if not the brutality of the Gestapo, has to be stopped in ourselves every day, and we are not always successful, either because of our impetus or because our lack of radical conviction. The faith of unfree men can raise its ugly head even in a free country. In this country, becoming less free by the day, our understanding of our religious tradition and our shared willingness to kick the tires of the values that we claim as our own is some of the most important work that we can do. I'll quote James Luther Adams once more, this time updating the text from the gender binary language that he used. He said, "There can be no reliable faith for free people unless there are faithful people who form the faith into beliefs, who test and who criticize the beliefs, and who then transform and transmit the beliefs. The only way in which humans can reliably form and transform beliefs is through the sharing of tradition and new insights, and through the cooperative criticism and testing of tradition and insight, ever changing. This is the only way in which freedom from tyranny can be fulfilled in freedom with justice and truth." In this moment of tyrannical encroachment, we carry his radical legacy forward as we create, test, and recreate our beliefs and continue to fight for the freedom of all people. There are hundreds, truly hundreds more people, dead and alive, whose radical lives impact the shape of our freedom today. And we are the ancestors whose work will determine the shape of love and justice for those who come after us, including some of the children in this building today. In the natural landscape of Las Vegas, there is a crunchy, fibrous plant that sometimes blossoms tiny little yellow flowers and has attractive, fuzzy little seeds. It's called the creosote bush. It smells earthy and smoky, and it reminds me of being little at Girl Scout camp in the Mojave Desert. These shrubs have deep root systems that can access soil water that more shallowly rooted plants cannot. Often, these root systems are even deeper than burrowing animals can reach. This lowly shrub is the backbone of North American desert ecosystems, and one particular patch, quite close to my home, is thought to be one of the oldest living organisms on Earth. Deep roots matter, especially in a time when the gap between the world that we dream of and the one that we live in is wide and widening. And that gap is where our apathy is fomented. Hopelessness, functional freeze, and despair flourish in that gap. But it is also in this gap that our radicalism keeps us grounded, where we remember who we are and who we belong to, where we remember that love was always the point, so we may as well be brave. There are infinite numbers of ways to continue to radicalize your own life, and the place to start is where you already are, remembering your unique role. Remember our shared spirit of radicalism, our own rootedness, and our shared ancestry of dissent. And this is not the Trekkie's task to go where we've never been. This is the work of reconnecting, returning, and remembering where we come from. May it be so. Our final hymn today is called We Shall Be Known. Stand if you would like.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love.
Our time together is coming to a close, and now we extinguish our chalice. We have heard the words and the music. We have sung the words that bring us into community. Our time together is coming to a close, but our work is not. This faith is not an easy faith. There are no simple answers, and always many, many questions. But it is in the questions that we grow. It is in the questions that we find and hold the spark of the eternal alive in all of us. May we, in the course of our week to come, keep love at the center of our lives, our thoughts, and our actions. May our shared values of interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity guide our every decision. May we have the strength to do all of this and feel joy doing it, and may our lives be our best worship. Go in peace and power.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere.
The storm can shake my inmost heart, but to that heart I'm clinging, since love